Hey folks, Dave here, and I like disassembling knives. Here to do just that with the SOG flare that we see before us. Is that a T6 or a T8? Can't remember what the pivot is. This is... Wait, is that a T6 or a T... I think that's a T6. Okay, it is a T6. Woof! Bated breath, know what I'm saying? We are going to take this thing apart because this is an assisted arc lock. I believe this is an arc lock. SOG's website even doesn't say specifically what this lock's name is. It is a lock that is present on a lot of their other better budget assisted knives. The arc lock officially is, my only example of it is on the Vulcan, which I cannot find at the moment, which for reasons that maybe I will share one day, terrify me. It's not really a knife that I want to not know where it is. But we are going to take this thing apart all the same to see what, whoa, that's an actual screw-looking screw. That's a rare thing. I don't know that I've ever seen an actual, pointy, pokey screw in a knife. So that's interesting. So we're two screws. Is that a T? What are you? We're only two screws in and we're already having an adventure. Which is interesting. This is a SOG flare, which I don't like very much. I have already done a review on it, where I tried to be fairly explicit about why and how much I don't like this thing. I think that it is a worthless, witless pile of trash monkey garbage, if I may be so frank. It actually inspired me to film about a half dozen versions of a video that I titled Demand Better, where I called for America specifically, humanity as a whole, to demand better, generally speaking, in our everyday lives. But I couldn't really decide on a lot of different aspects of it. So, all 6 different versions of that, I will probably die with those unreleased. Anyway, here is the inside of an assisted arc lock. Looky, looky, looky. Ooh, that is alright. I hate this knife. I don't think it's well made. I think it's a pile of trash. Baseline. However, I think it's also important for me to point out some aspects that are done much better than I would have expected. For instance, this is a captured pivot. Good job, SOG. These are phosphor bronze washers. Good job, SOG. You could have skipped out, gone the Kershaw route occasionally, of not making this a captured pivot, which would have been a real jerk move because there's no screw hole on that side, or making these Teflon washers. This knife is like $30, so it would have been understandable if you had done that. Of course, it also would have been understandable if you just made the whole rest of the thing competent up to that level, but that's a whole different thing. Interesting, and again, I don't know that I've seen this very often. I don't know where all of this is. Okay, but these are setting pins, I think. So that pin right there, and you can see 2 more down there, are just for holding its place while the screws go in. Again, just not something that I think I've ever seen before. Here, we can also... There is the detent ball for the safety. We're gonna... no, go back in. We're gonna play with that in a second. Why is it sticky? And here is the detent ball for the lock. If you want to understand why I dislike this, go watch my review. But this is an interesting way of doing this. My. So, alright, so it's just a hinge that when you pull back, where's my SOG flash? There it is. So when you pull back on this bar, what you are doing, can you see any of this in here? Not super. What you're doing is pulling this little nubbin back, which pulls back on that pin right there, which pulls back the whole bar and gets it out of the way of the tank. So right now it is in a locked position, but if we pull this back, it moves out far enough and it's all rounded inside, which might be part of the terrible blade play in this thing, is that everything is rounded. I don't know if that's part of it. So you pull this back enough and that lets you close it. Except, this is also assisted. So there is a spring on the back side of the blade. We're just going to take this whole thing apart now. But how does this lock work? So this part right here is a safety. So right here, it's fine. But if we push it down, then the safety engages, which I guess that actually, where are you? All right, I need to put you back on. Go on the setting pin. Please go on the setting pin. Thank you. So if this is down and pushed up, just everything's popping off. Why is this so sticky? This is very sticky. I don't know what this is painted with, but it's nasty. So if you pull down on this, or is that the difference? Just that little small little movement. It's not much movement. Huh. Which explains, again, why this thing is so darn fiddly. Okay. So this is the actual like thumb stud of the lock. Interesting little piece. I wonder how that's secured. Is that like welded? You can see that, you probably can't, but I can. See that it's like a little hammered looking. It's a little shaped. It's weird. I wonder how that is made. There's the safety, which I hate and will probably not put back in. Come here. This is a tiny little, looks like a submarine, man. What is that etching? There is, oh, those are words. Bear with me. I have no idea what they look like. Do they look like words? I don't know if they look like words. But scratches being present on the back side tells me, no, that's probably just terrible, terrible machining. And the pin is sticking back up. Again, I would like to know how these all are attached to each other. Come here, please don't spring me in the face. Don't spring me in the face. That's a massive spring. You'd think with a spring that big, like, the action would be a little bit better. On the flash, it's fine. On the flare, again, just go watch the review, I guess. But that is a big old spring. And a big old pivot, too. Can we just, push you off? Things are falling. Just make everything fall. All of the tiny little metal components here. This is the inside of a SOG flare. Is this magnetized? This is magnetized, I think. This is magnetized. I forgot what piece this is. Why is it magnetized? Pardon me while I set up for my thumbnail shot. And here on the inside, we can see that this is just not well machined. We got burrs and machine lines all over the place, man. I've been inside a Delica, and it does not look quite like this. At any rate, we are going to rebuild this. We have the technology. So that will go in there. But on the real, though, since that video will never die, since that video will never live, I dropped the spring in my lap. I guess now's as good a PSA, time to release the PSA of demand better, generally speaking, of every individual aspect of your life and the various pieces they're associated, including the products that you buy. That's got a terrible burr on it. I don't even know what this piece is for, but it's got a terrible burr. It goes somewhere around the place. Why is everything magnetized, man? You go in there? Yeah, you do. And then you go on there, correct? No. You go on there. Okay. Now we're getting there. Now we're cooking with bacon grease. Nope, that's not where that goes. Come here. No, come here. Well, I'm glad that this piece is poorly machined because the only hope that I have of picking it up is on that terrible burr. Okay. Starting over, I guess. I really shouldn't have taken the pins out of this. That was a mistake. It was a mistake that I made, and I suppose that's just something I need to learn to live with. Alright, so if you don't go in there, what does go in there? Do you go in there? No, you do not. I bet I know what goes in there, but I need a plier. SOG! Save your SOG, brother. There we go. I bet you go in there. Haha! Am I right? Yes! Puzzle Beast! I've done a Lego in my day. That goes there. And this goes here. Why are they all of different sizes? This is the worst thing about this. This is not the worst thing about this. Wait, what? Why are you dropping? Oh, that's an actual screw hole. Okay. In that case, no, go back in there. In that case, you go there? Right? Okay. What do I have? I have two more tittles. I don't know where these tittle. Do you tittle there? You must tittle there. Yeah, because the burr of that one is actually like scratched into the opposite side. So last hole, do we think it's... Nope, it's definitely not there. Wait, I said I wasn't including the safety when I rebuilt this. Okay. So y'all are both out. You're good, you're good. What holes are left unaccounted for? That hole went there, so that one's fine. Is this one here? It's not there. Is it? It's not there. I honestly have no idea where this thing goes. Which I think, and this is bad logic, but I think means it's not super important. Right? That's bad logic, but this is a long enough video. And I don't actually care about this knife. I don't like it. So I'm not really fighting for its affections at this point. I can make it work, and that'll be satisfying for me. I can't make it work well because it is the knife that it is. And it is a knife that was never destined to work well. Okay, you... Crap, I forgot how to make this work. Man, I gotta put the blade in, then build everything else around it. Forgot that's how this crap works. Okay, so. Nope. I'm learning. Am I learning? I'm not learning. Because I don't actually like this knife, and I don't really care if it ever lives properly again, I have reached a decision. Partially out of just frustration and laziness, partially out of the scientician that lives within each of us, crying out for a bloodlust, I guess? Maybe just regular lust, I'm not sure. But what I am doing is de-assisting this. Just to see if I can, I guess. I've never actually de-assisted a knife before. And, screw it. You gotta do it at some point, right? In all of our modding lives, there comes a day. So if I ever want to do this to a blur, I feel like it's important that I do it first to a knife that I don't actually care about. I don't know why, but that just seems right to me. I'm still going to put you in there. I'm going to put you in there, I think. Might as well. I think everything is in its place. Or were you the one that was stuck over here? I don't know, or particularly care that much. Boom! So now, all of the little twiddles should line up. All of the twiddles aren't lining up. All this garbage, these little posts here, is part of what makes it so frustrating that with a well-built knife, I'm actually going to pull out another assisted knife. With a well-built knife, you need 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact. 5. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in this thing, arguably too many, but there are 4 body screws in this thing, and only 1 point that is not screwed. Here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that one's for the pocket clip. But there are 4 body screws, not including the pivot. There are 4 screws, and 1, 2, 3, I think 4. There's a 5th one somewhere around the place. Pins that are not screwed in. That's bad. This isn't any more necessarily complicated than this is. Even with the Delica, there's one... Nope, actually, they're all screws. I think there's a pin in here. I think there's 1 pin in here that is not screwed in. And, that's a backlock. That's a pain to deal with in a Griptilian. There aren't... Actually, again, good point of comparison. This lock is no more complicated than this one. It isn't. But this doesn't have any pins, making this so much... And this even has hidden screws. I'm misremembering. This has hidden screws. And these two aren't any more complicated to take apart or put back together than this one is. But because it has so many pins, that gives it that many more little twiddly pieces that you got to make sure line up exactly. Something just fell out, and I'm not exactly sure what it was. Something down here. I don't even remember what these do. It fell out. That was the wrong hole. Is it being well communicated part of why I don't like this knife? I figured something like this would end up happening today. So because I can't see them, because they are so little, I have no real way of lining them all up. Because if I turn it to look, they could very well fall out. Alright, I think... No, you're on solid. Oh, come here. Alright, so this just catapulted out of somewhere, but I am not given to caring at this point. So we are just going to start screwing. Yeah, that's about it. That is the extent of my ambition here. Just go screw. Like the pistol shrimps told us. Alright. Screw in the body screws, and then I'm excited to see if this works. Because I don't know if it will, and it might not. Alright. Pivot. And yes, I should lube and Loctite, but, well, you know why I'm not. Alright, does this... Alright, loosen you up a little bit. So, the question is... Yeah, this still has a detent. Haha! Oh, that's why you can twiddle this, because the bar is being held back, so this isn't actually touching anything. So it provides, and it's not really any worse. So what is it that's providing the detent? I'm not entirely sure. Where's my flashlight? I want to be sure. I think the metal bar's just in there providing its own detent. So, the SOG flare, and by family, I assume the SOG flash, Aegis, flashback, yada yada, can all be de-assisted. And not come out as worse knives. I mean, it fights you a little bit on the opening, but I was never terribly thrilled with it anyway. That is the SOG flare. Disassembled, screwed up, de-assisted, pocket clip and a thing lacking. And to fix the pocket clip, you just put it in there and screw that screw in. But, bah humbug. That's how this works. If this has been helpful at all, which it really shouldn't have been, honestly. Who are you that this was useful to you in your life? Genuinely let me know. I'm confused. But if this was useful to you, let me know down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, let me know down below. And other than that, each one of you, have a great day. And most importantly, demand better of everything. Bye.